Thank you so much. Thank you for Wayne. Thank you very much. Can you hear me okay out there? I'm sure you can. You know, they say speaking through a microphone is like kissing someone through a screen door. You never really know if you're getting through or not. I had a friend who he thought his wife was going deaf, so he decided to give her a little test. And he walked into the kitchen. He was at the door of the kitchen. She was across the room peeling vegetables. And he said, "Can you hear me?" And he didn't hear an answer, didn't hear a response. So he got up a little closer into the room and said once again, "Can you hear me?" And still he didn't hear anything, so he got up right behind his wife and said, "Can you hear me?" And she whipped around and said, for the third time, "Yes." Some years ago, I played for a senior living facility. I did a whole program just like I'm doing for you, and I did it with the microphone just like I'm doing for you. And at the end of the program, a lady came up to me and physically took my hand and said, "Oh, Danny, I was so worried about you the whole time, having to wear that oxygen assist." So I'm missing a bell. There it is. All right. So what I've got here, this is 8 in hand. This is a technique that I invented. And I'm really the only one in the world who can do this at this point. I tell you, I've taught it to a number of classes. I've got it online. I've got, instructions are out there, but it's just not for everybody. But you can see that what I've got is 8 bells, and they're all in my hand, and the handles are interlocked. These are the same bells you saw me picking them up from my table, so there's nothing, this is not a permanent installation. They're just locked so I can play them this way. And the way it works is that the lowest bell here in the pinky bell rings forward. And then the next one up the scale in this hand is in the middle. It rings to the left. Then the next one up rings forward. And the next one rings back, and I've got that one backwards. And then the next one rings back, forward, right, forward. So all you have to do is remember which one goes which way, and you got it. And I have to remember which one goes which way, too. I think that was an easy. Okay. Sometimes when you put together something like this and one of them is wrong, you have to take apart the whole thing. But I didn't have to do it this time. This piece is called Carillon on No, what am I playing? This is Carillon on. Well, you've got it in the program, so. So you'll hear the melody the first time, and then I complicate that on the second time, and then it gets even more complicated on the third time. So. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, well, I've got the bells in this configuration. I'm going to do a different configuration in the next part of the program, and that's what got me confused on the name. But while I've got them in this configuration, I'm going to do a little bit of change ringing for you. Now, change ringing, I like to do change ringing for one because it's fun and because it's part of our heritage as handbell ringers. Change ringing originated in the Middle Ages for tower bells. Bells were way up in a tower, and each bell had a rope on it that came down through the ceiling that would be down below, and the ringing room's down below, and the ropes go through that ceiling, one rope for each bell and one ringer, one puller for each rope. So they'd have 4 or 6 or 8 bells in a change. And that's what change ringing means. It means that you ring all the bells that you have to ring one time and one time only in each series, in each one of 8 or 6 or 4, however many you have. So the first change that I'm going to ring for you in this prelude I'm going to play is called rounds, like a circle, rounds. And rounds begins and ends all change ringing. It's kind of a warm-up thing for the changers, and it simply means that you go from the high bell to the low bell in order. And the high bell's number 1, low bell's number 8. So rounds would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's one change. So that's rounds. The next change that I'm going to ring is called queens. It's 1, 3, 5, 7, 2, 4, 6, 8. And the next one is kings. I didn't make these names up now. These are ancient from England. Kings is 7, 5, 3, 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. And then the last one I'm going to do, there are lots of these, but the last one I'm going to do is back rounds, which is bottom to top. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is change ringing prelude on 8. So handbells were invented a long time ago. They were in England. They were invented in England, of course, and these are called English handbells. They stayed in England for a while, and then people started finding out how much fun they were and how pretty they are. So it progressed around the world gradually. And they finally came to America in the first part of the 20th century. And do you know who brought handbells to this country? This is something you ought to know. P.T. Barnum. Yes, somebody did know it. We were a circus act. So, yes. So, you could go to the circus, pay your nickel to get into the big time, and see the man who swallows swords, and the fat lady, and horses, and lions, and tigers, and bears, and a handbell choir. So, who knew? We were a circus act. Now, the thing you have to remember about that time is that none of the people none of those people would have ever seen handbells before, any handbells, much less a group of, say, 8 or 10 or 12 Yorkshire ringers ringing a big set of handbells. So it was quite a phenomenon, and I understand why he wanted it in his circus. And it probably did really well. I don't really have any more information about that. But anyway, so this next piece is an original piece called Bell Begin. Now, since it's an original piece, you won't be able to hum along with this one like you can on a lot of them, but you'll recognize the Latin rhythm that's involved, and it repeats enough that you'll be humming it by the end. So this is Bell Begin. Thank you so much. Thank you. These lights are hot. I'm dripping on my glasses. All right, so when I was about 6 years old, we were called to my grandfather's house for his final passing into the great beyond. And we all gathered in his house, at his house. And as it turned out, he was not dying that day. We thought he was. He thought he was. He convinced us all that he was, but he wasn't. And he went on to continue to be a stingy grouch for the next 6.5 years. And he was known for being a skinflint for 3 counties over. So we were all gathered there in the living room, and Grandpa raised his head up off the bed and kind of looked around and lay back down and said, "Mama, are you here?" And she took his hand and said, "Yes, dear, I'm right here with you." He said, well, are the children here?" She said, "Yes, dear, they're all right here with you." "And what about the grandchildren? Are they here?" She said, "Yes, darling, we're all here. Everybody's right here in the room with you." And he raised his head up and said, "Well, why's the living room light on then?" This next piece is a Richard Rodgers waltz. This is Lover by Richard Rodgers. Thank you so much. Years ago, I played for a very formal Presbyterian church in Greenwood, Mississippi. It was a beautiful thing, and they had, huge pipe organ, really pretty. Not all that large a church, but it was very formal. And the choir director, an organist who invited me to play, warned me that this audience does not clap during Sunday services. So I said, "Okay, I belong to a formal Episcopalian church, and we don't clap either, so it's all right." Well, I played 4 pieces that morning, and after each one of the pieces, there was this little titter of applause through the audience. It was very Presbyterian applause. Like, "We like what you do, but we don't want to make much noise." Well, afterwards, the choir director came up to me in the room behind the chancel area, came up and shook my hand and said, "Man, they must have loved you." All right, this is Joshua. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to take a 5-minute break. All right. Well, thank you for coming back. I was going to let the intermission last a bit longer, but it's about 90 degrees in that room, so I couldn't stand it. So anyway, this next piece is Plink, Plank, Plunk by Leroy Anderson. Okay, so, all right, I've got to rearrange the bells again, so I'm going to tell you another story. This man and his wife were leaving handbell practice one night, and as they were walking down the steps of the church, you could tell by looking at them that they were mad at each other, and it turns out that the wife thinks the husband is a bass-bell hog of the worst kind. And that's a serious insult, and he is. And the husband thinks the wife is a four-in-hand know-it-all. And she is, and he thinks she's flirting with the director because she's right there in front of him. So they're just not getting along right now. So in order to get to their car, they have to walk through a little park that's in front of the church. And there's a wishing well in the middle of the park that they walk up to, and the sidewalk goes around it, you know. So they stand there forlornly. They don't want to talk to each other. They don't want to get in the car. So the woman opens her little clutch purse, gets out a coin, and drops it in the wishing well. Little splash at the bottom. The man thinks, I am not letting her get away with that. So he takes a coin out of his pocket, but somehow as his hand is coming out of his pocket, it gets caught or something and on his belt loop or whatever, and he stumbles and trips, and then he himself goes over into the well, all the way to the bottom. Big splash. The woman calmly looks over the edge of the well and goes, I'll be darned, it works. So let's see if that worked. I have to put these together while I'm talking, and believe me, I have practiced that because it's not easy, but I still do it wrong. All right. This will be a quick fix. This is another 8-in-hand piece. This one is Caroline on Hyfordal. Hyfordal is in your hymnal 3 different places. Hyfordal is the tune name, and the hymn name, the name of the words, the lyrics, Come, come, Almighty, to deliver, born a King. We sing that as an Advent hymn, and it's in the Presbyterian hymnal in 2 more iterations that you might know. But this one is Caroline on Hyfordal, and the way it works this time, and I do this just to keep myself confused, the lowest bell in the scale now is in my right hand here at my thumb, and it rings forward. And then the next one up the scale is in my thumb on this hand, and then which both ring forward. This one rings left. That one's supposed to ring left. This one rings right. This one forward, forward, back, and back. And I have one more repair here to do. There it is. You know, handbells are, the reason I can do things like this, some of you are handbell ringers, I'm sure, and you know that a handbell clapper only goes front to back. So it'll ring pretty good this way, very good this way, not so good this way. It won't do anything at all going side to side. So I can turn these bells backwards or one side or the other and get an effect like this. That's how we do 4 in hand. You saw a lot of 4 in hand on that first piece I played. You know, one bell's going this way and one bell's going that way. So it allows you to ring them independently. Let's see if I got it this time. So much for all my practice. All right, this is Caroline on Hyfordal. you so much. Thank you. You know, when you play a piece like that, you have to play it like a million times. And the first time through, you're figuring out which one goes which way, that sort of thing, and playing the melody just by ear, and it inches its way along into a melody that flows, and then it works its way into your memory, and then it works its way into your muscle memory. And at that point, the best thing to do is get out of the way and let it flow. And usually it does. So the problem is that my mind tends to wander when I get to the muscle memory part. So here's where my mind goes when I'm playing that first verse of Heiferdal. How much is that doggy in the window? The one with the waggly tail. How much is that doggy in the window? I sure hope that doggy's for sale. Oh my darling, oh my darling, oh my darling Clementine, I had just found a new lover, oh my darling Clementine. Toyland, Toyland, my country 'tis of the sweet land of liberty. Thank you. So that shows you, don't let your mind wander. This forgetful old man, and I can say that because I'm a forgetful old man too. I'm 73 years old now. And this forgetful old man was leaving handbell practice one night. Everything happens at handbell practice. And driving down the road, he got a call on his cell phone. He picked it up on the hands-free. It was his wife. She said, "Honey, look out on the radio. They say there's one man going the wrong way on the interstate." And he yells back at her, "One hell, there's hundreds of them." Hope I can say that in church. This next piece is, well, I want to tell you that one thing we do as soloist and as a regular handbell choir, we keep the bells in what we call keyboard order. So looking from my side of the table, it looks like I'm standing behind a giant keyboard, and you're welcome to come up and see what I'm looking at if you'd like to after the program, and ring a bell if you want to. But anyway, there's a row in the back of white keys. You see the handles are white, and then the front row are black keys, and there's space in 3 and 2 and 3 and 2, just like the keyboard that Wayne is playing for us. So we keep them in keyboard order. This next piece I'm going to keep in keyboard order the whole time, and I'm just going to ring it with one bell in this hand and one bell in this hand at a time. And no fancy two bell or anything at all in this piece, just one bell here, and it's all going to stay in keyboard order except for one time. There's one bell that I can't get to in order, so I place it up here for just a few seconds, and then I bring it right back. That's just so I can get to it. And that's the only one I'm going to change around. This is Bethany. It's a Scott Joplin waltz that's dedicated to his sister. Did you see it when I placed this one up there? Could you? It may be hard to tell from down where you are. Anyway, you know, this same very formal church up in Greenwood, Mississippi, where I played and told you about, the preacher came up to me after that program, met me, shook my hand, and the only thing he had to say was, "Man, you'd make a great pickpocket." That's all he said. You know, is that a compliment? Is that like, don't come back to my church? I don't know. Anyway, and he didn't even see this piece, so that one does look like a pickpocket. This next one we're going to play for you is "Biding My Time" by George Gershwin. All right. Before I do this last piece, let me just say thanks to Rick Holdsworth and Pine Shores Presbyterian Church. It's been a real delight being here. Thank you to Wayne Fisher for playing with me and working with me all weekend. Yes, thank you for that. Thank you so much. This last piece is "America the Beautiful." I may be losing my deal there. It gets crowded. You know, I wear hearing aids and glasses, and then this microphone thing, so it gets kind of crowded back there. This is "America the Beautiful." I'm going to play 3 verses. Wayne and I are going to play 3 verses of it. I want you to sing along on the first 2. The first one is the one that you know and love already. You'll hear when to come in. The second verse, I want you to sing "The Patriot Dreams, Alabaster City's Gleam." Patriot Dreams, Alabaster City's Gleam. See if you can get the words from that, and I bet you can. And then the chorus to that one is the same exactly as the first one. So this is "America the Beautiful." Thank you. And for Wayne. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I do have one more. You want one more? It's a quickie. This is another bell rearrangement. So here comes another story. Years ago, I put together a CD of Christmas music and piano for solo bells and piano Christmas album. And I would take that around with me when I went places and sell them after a performance, you know, like people do. And the first, I had a sort of a groupie in Pensacola. Every time I played, she was there at church services or concerts or whatever. And we got to know each other because we kept seeing each other all the time. Not only my performances, but other things around town. Well, she came to the performance where the first time I had the CD, and she bought one, of course. And then I didn't see her again until like April of the next year. But I did a performance, and she came up afterwards and took my arm and said, "Oh, Danny, I still play your Christmas CD every night." I thought, well, that's just real confirmation. You know, that's the kind of stuff you want to hear. She went on to say, however, that the reason she plays it every night is she's got a little CD player right beside her bed. And every night she takes my CD out of its case and puts it in the little CD player. And in her own words, if you turn the volume way down low, you can hardly hear the piano at all, and the bells will put you right to sleep. So if any of you have a sleeping problem, I can help you with that. This last piece I'm going to play is in what we call 6 in hand. See, I've got 6, and they're all in hand. I'm not picking them up and down from the table, just like the 8 in hand. But this is only 6, and it's way simpler than the 8 in hand. But this is Caroline on Ode to Joy, Beethoven's Ode to Joy. So with this, I wish you a happy Thanksgiving and a Christmas season. And again, thank you all for being here tonight, and I love you all. This is Caroline on Ode to Joy. I'm not sure if my microphone's still. It does. Okay. Can you see it fell off? But we got through it. Thank you so much for coming tonight, and that concludes the program for this evening. Thank you.